Alright, good morning everybody. Welcome to Damage Control. This is Mookie, joined with Darth Beaver and Delgarn. And this is the second part of our Sunday show here, in which we want to go ahead and break down the Cosmic Crucible. We got new information that came out this past week or a few days ago as far as the room bonuses that's going on. So is it season 2, Darth? What is it? Is that what they're labeling it?
Probably, yeah, I think it's gonna be season 2.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
says season 2 in game.
Okay. So it's
Oh,
season
it does,
2.
yeah.
Yeah, season 2 is upon us. So tomorrow that should be kicking off live. And what we wanted to do was just do our little version as far as on, proper planning on defenses and what just our initial gut feeling is going to be as far as what should work. Of course, as we get more involved within the gameplay of Cosmic Crucible, things will change. But this is just kind of a rough draft. So make sure that you also are preparing because regardless, I'm pretty confident that you're going to be running against some people that have not set up their defenses accordingly to the room bonuses. So make sure you're not in that position. So make sure you get your defenses set, and we'll go from there. So I haven't set up anything yet. I know you guys shared your screenshots over into our Discord, which I did save, and I'll pop that up in a moment. But do you have any preferences? Do you want to start on room 3 or 6? What room do you want to start with, Dark?
Backwards. Start on 6 and work backwards because 6 is basically, it's what you have to do. But you'll have to go into your room 4 first and clear it out.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at 6 then. You said so on 6, this is the one where it's like on defense, Wakandan characters gain 60% max health, focus, resistance, damage. On defense, on turn, the Wakandan characters clear all negative effects on self. So that's on turn, clearing all negative effects on self and gain speed up. On defense, Wakandan characters clear revive once on each successful attack. And that just sounds kind of bonkers, right? As far as getting your Wakandans. And Dale, you already talked about working yours up to level 90. And we already know about the red stars that Darth has on his team. So when I'm reading into all of that type of room bonus there, I'm going to bring up the screenshot of what you have, Darth. And this is your overall team, but if we were to zoom in a little bit, here's your Wakandan. Because I was very curious about the composition, and that's really what y'all's decision is going to be for everybody that differs. Somebody may have a better higher red star level up for Mumbaku, Killmonger. It may want to like substitute those in, right? On your level, you went with the damage. So what's your thinking when you kind of want to use this particular composition?
I think the same on defense as they do on offense with that team. There are other compositions with Killmonger, with M'Baku, but that team comes out the fastest, lays down the most damage before Black Panther takes his first turn. So there's a higher likelihood of Black Panther getting kills and starting to snowball in this composition than with the other ones. Now, this may not be the composition that can sustain and last the longest, and may not be the optimal for this season. But for now, I want guys to just melt in front of this team, so that's what the goal is.
And I believe this is yours, Dale. When we look at your setup over here, you went with the Killmonger. It's kind of similar to what Darth had. And I know you like kind of what Killmonger does with his chain. Is that kind of, there's no right or wrong, but just kind of the theory. What was the theory that you have with Killmonger and what you like about him?
I feel like I was trying out on attack with I forgot her name, the girl that Darth likes,
Nakia.
Nakia. But I feel like Killmonger's to do a lot more on defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. And I think what it comes down to is if RNG works in your favor where he's pinging a certain character that's of an importance to the attacker. That's kind of where things kind of work in your favor there. So it's kind of like that 50-50 chance, and this you have the opponent that's attacking you kind of crossing his fingers once Killmonger comes through. He's like, please don't target my character kind of feeling, right? So no, it's interesting. I think overall what I would say is that, I haven't set up anything. I haven't really broken down myself, but I'm going to peek over at Benny Westside, and he already has his infographic that you definitely should take a look at. I'll try to see how if I can do links of his Discord, which I don't even follow, but I guess he has something up here. Maybe that's how you follow him. I don't really know, but I still want to acknowledge and give credit to what he has done, especially for us in the community. But down here, here's kind of the compositions. Um, I don't know if it's in tier of up from top to bottom as far as preferred preferences, but they do have Killmonger there on the top two. Mumbaku's even set up. Now, the one thing I would say about Mumbaku and what I've noticed, and I'll kind of kid with Darth a little bit, but he's one of those that once his taunt comes through, he's just annoying. He's just that annoying taunt on Cosmic Crucible, and I think that's what makes him kind of ideal to have on defense. But the problem behind that is that it takes him that second turn to apply it. It's not a first turn move, but it is a second one. And if your team lasts long enough to get to it, then that's where you'll start feeling the issue with Mumbako being on defense or like him being of a problem to deal with. But anyways, but this is the composition. Everything kind of is the same of what you guys did right there with the second and third one. So it's just interesting. So kudos to y'all. Without, I know Dart didn't peek at this. So you definitely are in line to the quote unquote experts. I mean, I don't know if I consider these guys experts. I take the time in doing content. But you're all on par as far as what they did with that particular room. Let me take a look into the next one here. So we're looking at room 5. So room 5 is the one that's, directing us towards Spider-Verse. It says when any Spider-Verse character has stealth, that character gains 20% damage. And then it says reduce resistance by 20% for any character with bleed. This room may be updated in the future. So there they go, just giving us a little footnote that it may have some other benefits or that they may add to it. But for right now, that's just a general term. It's that on self, they're going to get 20% damage. I don't think it's something overwhelming. As far as like, I mean, you can kind of use whatever Spider-Verse characters you have, but usually right off the bat, the one in theory to think of is going to be the Tanglewood team, right? So
Yes, that's a particular call out to Spider-Man Noir, to people with big Spider-Man Noirs who overinvested in their Spider-Man Noirs because they're just going to come out with all that extra damage and lay it on all those bleeds right away before your 2099 goes, I think, and then 2099 will have lesser resistance to hit into,
yep.
and he'll definitely land those slows and defense downs. Then your Spider Weaver will go. I mean, that's the thought process behind that. You'd think they want you to use your Spider-Man Noir, so they made a very specific call out for him.
Yep. And there he is on your preliminary setup, Darth. So this is Darth's setup right here where he has Tangle Web right in the middle, the three of them. Now you went ahead, and this is kind of where the theory crafting starts as far as, well, who do you want to pair them up with? Who's going to be the other two? And you chose to go ahead and get the Mr. Negative and Kingpin there.
Yeah,
I can't, no, I mean, I'm assuming then, do they have the Spider-Verse trait on them, on both of these guys? Okay.
they do. They'll never be in stealth, but they do.
Okay. Interesting. And then if we peek over here at Dell and Dell Squad, you do have, I don't know, are you still working on them? Or what?
That's what I'm going with for right now. I don't really I want to keep Tangle Web on offense because I feel like I'm gonna need Tangle Web for Tangle Web,
Yeah,
and I want to because I feel like I'll have to use Unlimited X-Men somewhere else, and
gotcha.
I'm not really sure what I can counter that room with besides Tangled Web.
All right.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm on the two shot land with that. I'm assuming that's just going to be a two shot because of how they're going to open. Because there's going to be the Noir too. I think it'll be similar to this season where you take in five low level characters that eat up Noir's ultimate and 2099's ultimate, and then you go back in with an Eternals team or something like that to outspeed them and hurt their turn meter until they go down.
All right. Well, here's Benny Westside's infographic and what they have as far as recommendations here. So there's the Tangled Web up on the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I thought I felt like there's 6. I'm like, how do you get a 6th person in there? I guess. But yeah, they have the whole zombie, the Zim team with Hella kind of being like the other two fillers as a possibility. And then I don't know if Emma's in there as far as a substitute for him for speed control. Maybe that's what they're looking at if someone wants to mirror match it like the way Darth was talking. I mean, that Dell was talking about keeping them on offense. That maybe you throw Emma there to get the first turn bonus. So
Right. That top one looks like it's set up to defend the mirror match
yeah, exactly.
because their hella will a Greg will die to your 2099's opener and give them and take away 10% of your speed bar on your team.
Mm-hmm.
So that's almost like an arena style setup, is where it's just set up so that it's hard to go before their Spider Weaver.
Exactly. And then here's kind of your setup, Darth, right there, right in the middle. Where
Mm-hmm.
you kind of have the option though, if you want to leave, if you want to throw in Taskmaster to pair him up with the Kingpin and Mr. Negative, or if you want to leave Spider-Man Noir. So that's kind of an interesting options right there. And then here's something interesting with the setup there. If you want to kind of look into the Young Avengers squad and then just get 2099 and Spider Weaver. So decisions. And
Do you like that top team? I like the thought of putting the undead with them because of all the bleeds and the reduced or resist or the added the reduced resistance when they have bleeds. That's not the top team is definitely intriguing.
see what's going on room 4. So room 4, this is kind of where you get your hero mutant bonuses. It says on spawn, the hero mutants gain revive once and immunity. Then on offense, they reduce speed and resistance by 10% for all non-master of evil villain mystics. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the overall trade, right? Overall. So really,
That's
the
the overall, yeah.
okay, yeah. I'm as you can tell, I'm reading this for the first time here. But yeah, so it's just really on spawn. Hero mutants gain revive once and immunity. All right. So when we look at that, that kind of leans over here towards you, Darth, where we jump into your team and you went with the uncanny setup, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, that was a killer team from last year, and I just moved it over. And um, I'm just going to not from last year, from last season, but I put them there because unlimited is the call out. Like if you put your unlimited here, it'll be gross. But sort of like Dell kept his Spider Verse, his Tangled Web for offense. I'm doing the same thing with my unlimited because I'm going to need my unlimited for some of these defenses. I'm positive of it.
yeah. And then Dell went with this setup, which is also interesting. Over here to the right, where you got the Axemen team, and that's an interesting team. Like they're just a thorn for me that I've been dealing with the last season. So I could see them coming into this room being the same annoyance there if you're just not really properly planning or have the right teams like I was doing last season. But I like that setup too. So there's your hero mutants there. So that's going to be interesting. I wonder if some people may do that other composition where they use some of the uncanny, like your Phoenix and Colossus, or no, yeah, Phoenix and Colossus, and then they leave the Power 3 right here as a little mashup team. But let's go to the Judge card over here and see what Benny's doing. So obviously, of course, this rating system would be like if you want to turtle it, right? The top defenses. So there it is. There's that unlimited team up on top right there. Now, one thing I didn't mention, which I should say, if I get an overview, they even put the counters here, possible counters to the right, if you want to take the time to digest and look into all of that. But right now, we're just talking about the defensive setups. So we do have unlimited there on top. Here is an interesting little mix-up of the uncanny team where they throw in Dakok. So I'm trying to think what that is. But that's one idea, and then there is the uncanny team at the bottom. All right, so both of y'all still on par with what their suggested recommendations are. Let me jump back to the game and let's take a look at room 3. All right, so on room 3, as I'm trying to move my screen here to the middle, this was the more intriguing one, I think, for a lot of people. This is one that's not set up by particular teams, but it's all about ISO Fortifier. So it says on defense, any fortifier that uses an ultimate ability spreads all positive effects to adjacent allies. On any striker's turn, barrier that character for 5% of that character's max health barrier and flip offensive down. So, this is the one that I know that's getting a lot of people excited on kind of planning and what they want to do. So when I jump over to Dar's team over here, I think this is what. Oops, am I missing up? That's 3. You decided to go with the dark hold.
Yeah, so I had nothing special planned for this room yet. I have no special fortifiers that I've thought to bring in and things like that. But I know that I want to put my Darkhold on defense, just for the overall global rule this year or this season that hampers your villain mystics on offense and your cosmic villain mystics on defense. So the only one on defense to get hampered is Heartless on this team because the rest of them are global. So the mirror match will be very hard to pull off because your team will be getting the minus 10% speed, the minus 10% everything else, as we're the only person on the defensive team to be affected will be Heartless.
Yeah.
So I didn't. I'm not going to change anybody's ISO there to Fortifier. That team will probably get moved into room 1, and the team in room 1 will probably get switched around and moved into room 3.
Yeah, you hit a right on the question I wanted to ask you there as far as so is there any inkling that you feel like putting Fortifier onto Wong?
No. If I
Oh.
was going to put Fortifier on anybody, yep. See, no, nope.
Okay.
I don't see that. Not on that team.
Part of the theory about this room is the people you want to put Fortifier on is the people who open up with ultimate attack.
And they got to have buffs though. Like they got to open up with ultimate attack and have a stack of buffs to spread.
So like 2 teams that people have been talking about, I think are interesting ideas are Gamma and Bionic Avengers.
Yeah, let's talk
I'm
about
leaning
that.
towards Bionic Avengers and put some fortifiers on them because almost all of them open up with ultimate attacks.
Mhm. And this is Dell setup with that Bionic Avenger setup. So when you talked about your ISO as far as putting Fortifier, which tunes are you kind of leaning towards doing that? Which character?
I was thinking most of them, but I wasn't sure which ones I was going to go for starting yet.
Okay.
Luck opens up with his special. I think he's the only one that does. I think everybody else will get their ultimates because of the energy distribution.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
Well,
not a bad idea.
no, scorecard over here. You hit on it. Dell, there it is. Gamma right there is coming through the Benny Westside's channel of recommendations there. And they even put the fortifier trait on the screen here. So they're looking at putting She-Hulk with the fortifier right up in the middle. And I'm assuming this is like the setup from left to right to go with. And then there's kind of a combination of rebirth, but they put Fury on there. Because I think the other thing you got to look at when you're thinking about the fortifier is like, not so much, also like the opening ultimate, but also like how fast they get their turn on there, right? So I think that's where Fury comes into play because we all know that he's one of the first characters to come out
Right.
the gate on the attack.
And he will, and he opens with his ultimate, which is usually a detriment because it doesn't spread the speed up, but this will. And it's smart. He's got him speeding up their 2 damagers.
Yep. And then there is the Underworld team right
Yeah,
there.
it's last season's team.
Yeah. Interesting. When we jump over to rooms 2 and 1, there isn't much of, any type of, obviously they stay the same where there's no room bonuses there. So then it just kind of leaves it up, into theory as far as what's left over. What is it that, you guys want to have on there. So when we look over at Darts room 1 and 2, these are just kind of the usual annoyances, right? You got the Young Avengers there, and then there's where you placed your Gamma. But after looking at Benny Westside's infographic, do you kind of have any indication? Do you feel like flipping these two?
I kind of do, but at the same time, I'm not going to switch my She-Hulk to Fortifier. She's already there. That whole team's ISO 4. I'm not switching any of them. I mean, I could go back and do it, but she loses 10% health when you switch it over. I think I'd rather have her 10% healthier than spreading buffs as far as that team is concerned. So that's my holdback on putting Gamma there is they're already up at ISO 4 and I'm not switching any of them to Fortifier, which is how room 3 gets its bonuses.
Yeah. Okay. And then we peek over here at Dell's setup, and there's where you put your dark code right there on one, and then similar, you do have the Young Avengers on the second room there. So interesting setup that you guys have. Obviously, I don't have any of my defenses set up yet, but it is something that I'll start working on. I appreciate you two doing this and really kind of diving down and, kind of doing the initial theory crafting of what your gut feelings are. Of course, this is a brand new season. We'll start seeing more to come as far as on what, we'll share what we've been running into, what works, what doesn't. I'm sure you'll see from other guys' channels as well. But all in all, just have fun with it. Continue to grind at that one because you do get your resources here on Cosmic Crucible gameplay. So not to, burst your bubble back, Heidi Bulk, but I know you just put your hand team on there. But in the end, you definitely need to go ahead and just kind of keep in mind some of those resources there. Maybe you don't like the style of the battle, but definitely try to take advantage of getting some attacks in. So that way you can get some resources going. But we'll wrap it up on the show here. We'll stay on Twitch for a little bit. But I want to thank you guys for, again, checking this out. We'll catch y'all next Sunday. And we'll kind of recap and what worked for us, what didn't work. So we'll share that little rundown during next Sunday's show. Y'all take it easy. Bye-bye.